Good morning, all from the Rooster Inn Observatory. I'm trying to get. Good morning, Jacob. Trying to get the big guy to focus so we can have. Hopefully, look at the comet with both telescopes. So bear with me as I struggle with the misbehavior of the electronic focuser. We were not expecting clear skies tonight, but the dogs had other ideas than letting me sleep, and when I looked up, when I took them out, skies were clear. Let me see if I can cut this down to a couple of seconds. Let's see if we can focus quickly. This is gonna have to do for now. Let's see if we can get the plate solver to work. Okay. Where is the Palouse Reefer Observatory? In Palouse, Washington. It's not too late for you yet. Thank you for joining us. The sky is a bit too clear on Seestar. I don't know why. It should be a bit darker. But we definitely have the comet in there. Although it says no object to mark, but there she is. And waiting to see if the big scope is going to show us the comet. Well, Wilbur I recognize. Palouse threw me for a loop here, or for a Palouse. I've been spending a lot of time machining a new pier head for my new mount, the Ioptron AZ Mount Pro, which I'd like to replace the Celestron CGX with. I will be putting together a video, but instead of buying a pier, I bought a post from Home Depot, the thing that you would use to raise a basement or a crawl space, a foot-high post, and started from there. And I've been doing a lot of machining, metal machines. I have not lost any limbs yet or fingers, so we're doing well. I'm still not thrilled with the focus on the Celestron. We'll come back to it before yeah, it is a very nice mount. So far, I updated the firmware. I am surprised that they still insist on RS-232 for firmware update as opposed to USB, but that's fine. It has a unique feature. You put it outside and it uses GPS and its internal sensors to find everything. No need for aligning, no need for calibration. It does everything. Well, for those who think that winter is over, we started the day today in snow. It was snowing and then sleeting and then raining. But yeah, we started the morning with snow, lots of it. Yeah, I see a comet on both screens right now. To be able to carry the C11, which weighs about 28 pounds, will require two counterweights rather than pay $90 plus another $30 in shipping to get a 10-pound counterweight from Ioptron. I decided to go the Walmart route. They sell 10-pound barbells for $14 with free shipping. So I'm waiting for my barbell to arrive. And then hopefully sometime next week we will have a first light. We had 76 degrees earlier this week. It was sunny on Sunday, cloudy on Monday for the eclipse, and then sunny on Tuesday. And then it got really warm on Wednesday and hot on Thursday. Syracuse Airport set a new record for the day, 76 degrees. And then it went downhill very, very quickly on Friday and snow on Saturday. Let me see if Comet 2023 A3 Tsuchinshan Atlas is visible now. If it is, we will hop on it quickly. Nah, it is okay. I can pick it up with Seestar, but not with the Edge HD. So we'll hop on it while I struggle with focusing the big guy. We have the dew heaters on for both telescopes, expecting a lot of moisture to form. Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering what you're going to do, whether you're moving the observatory or the power lines. Looks like you moved the Seestar. Good solution. So in another 10 minutes of stack time, we will move to the next comet. While I focus the big guy. Good evening, Larry. This is a bonus night. I was not expecting clear skies, so I'm improvising in terms of targets right now. I'm gonna hit 2 comets, and then plenty of smaller galaxies I'd like to look at with the C11. And then possibly revisit some of the Hoy's targets. The Cocoon Nebula is one I'd like to look at with the big telescope. Good morning, Steve. We're looking at comets for the first part of the evening, and then a few of the young star regions. Depending if I'm able to focus the Edge HD, then one target I'd like to look at later tonight is M16, the Eagle Nebula with the Pillars of Creation. I'd very much like to look at it with a big telescope to see how close we can zoom in onto the pillars. Good evening, Marcelot. The Seestar has been a joy, liking it very much. This time next week, I expect to be at the Northeast Astronomy Forum, the NEAF, and I look forward to having a chat with the Seestar folks. That's where I met Seestar S50 last year. I want to egg them, beg them to give us an 80mm or 100mm Seestar. If they can give us a telescope with a 3 or 4 inch, or better yet 6-inch aperture, then that will be a game changer, both in terms of planetary observation and some of the fainter nebulae. Yeah, last Monday, my Seestar followed the sun from 8 a.m. till around 4 p.m. Did not have to touch the tracking, it just stayed with the sun the entire time. Unfortunately, clouds hampered the experience, but I was still able to get the diamond ring and Bailey's beads, and we saw the moon travel across the sun, and then we saw totality. However, DWARF was the only scope that showed corona, just because of its field of view. Well, for the eclipse, we had a crystal clear Sunday, crystal clear Tuesday, and cloudy all day Monday. It was a mixed experience. It still got very dark, and we did observe all the little bits and pieces through the clouds. And it was much better than 2017 because we were nowhere near the eclipse in 2017. Yeah. Celestron disappointed big time with their origin. They cobbled up lots of old technology together, and they called it smart telescope. When people ask me what I thought of the Celestron telescope, the first thought that crossed my mind was Kodak doubling down on wet film cameras, saying that digital cameras are a fad that will pass. I mean, looking at the novelty that Stellina brought to the market 4 years ago, granted it was a bit expensive, but Stellina was worth it. Unfortunately, the Vaonis folks found themselves going to Vespera with a smaller aperture, and Seestar and Vespera have, at least the first Vespera, Seestar had identical specifications in terms of aperture, same sensor. Right now, the main differentiator between the original Vespera and Seestar is the stacking algorithm. And then out of the blue, the DWARF lab came out with their DWARF 2 for 1/10 the weight and 1/10 the price of Stellina. DWARF did extremely well with the eclipse because it was a lot easier to remove the magnetic solar filter during totality than it was yanking the filter out of Seestar without jerking it off its trajectory. The unistellar scopes, even though they are wider aperture, I just cannot bring myself to liking the specifications on them. Alright, time to hop onto the next comet. Or not. Okay, there we go. Looks like we have a comet. Are you talking about the big telescope, Wilbur, or the small one? Let's see if the autofocuser works here. Looks like at 17,450. Yup, 17,444. Okay, go there. Thank you. Okay, focuser worked. Let's see if we can get PhD2 to work. I don't see a comet there. Okay, PhD2 seems to be working. Let's find where we're going with it. I very much want to do M64 and then M57 with the big scope. Where is M64 right now? No, M64 is out of our reach. Okay, M57. M57 is doable. We go to target, we increase exposure so we can plate solve, although I see it, I mean it's smack in the middle. Yay! Okay, no need to plate solve. Eight seconds should be good. 15 should be better. And let me make sure that we are subtracting the darks here. Darks. Okay. So the big question now is PhD2 gonna track properly? Nope, I want a brighter One, please, thank you. And begin guiding. Let's go stacking. What was that? Ever since I replaced, what was that went straight through the comet? Looks like a plane. That's a good transit. Ever since I replaced the motorboard, auto guiding has been erratic. Let's stack it. I don't know if this is a satellite, given that it is dashed. A satellite would have been a straight line. It's probably more likely a plane, but nevertheless, for it to go straight through the middle of the comet is highly unusual. This is very bad auto-guiding, by the way. I don't have overheating problems here. We have, you just look at the battery. It is blue. See? That says it's too cold for it to be charging. Ever since I replaced the motor board on the CGX mount, it has not been the same. I am starting to believe that when the motor board failed, it took something else with it. It's not guiding right. Even with the auto guider, even with the PhD2, I'm getting RMS error in auto guiding of about 2 arc seconds. I used to run at half arc second all the time. Alright, time to do ring nebula side by side. This latest feature with the Sharp Cap Pro, which I'm using to stack as well as stretch, it allows me to balance the colors based on the star colors, trying to make them white. By the way, for those of you who have been watching this channel for a while, you probably know by now that I'm trying to replicate what Stellina and Seestar and DWARF, what they do, trying to replicate it with an 11-inch scope. And this is what I just did with M57. I did the go-to. I did not need to do a plate solve, but it's usually followed by a plate solve. By the way, that's a big difference between DWARF and Seestar. DWARF calibrates at the beginning of the night and then does not do more plate solving except to correct positions. And then stack. And Sharp Cap does all three for me. It actually does the go-to, and it does the stack, which is what we're doing now, and it does the stretching. Larry, Sharp Cap does not auto-guide yet. It relies on PhD2 for guiding. However, Sharp Cap allows the guiding here. I don't know that you can read it. It will plate solve as soon as the stack moves by a preset number of pixels. Right now it says not connected to guiding, and it's not monitoring the guiding application. So I'm relying on PhD exclusively for guiding. And I doubt that you can, depending on how big your screen is, but it says guiding using, and that's where we can specify what application to use. Okay, what's Seestar's problem now? This is incredible. 10-second frame and we have the ring nebula clearly there. Yeah, before there were smart telescopes, I used to enjoy taking hours on end of single frames, and I prided myself that I could take 5-minute exposures with the Canon without any trailing. Actually, at one point, my 8-inch Edge HD uh, can take it could take 3-minute exposures without guiding, unguided, and absolutely no trailing, no nothing. That was a good scope. Yeah, M57 is a beautiful target. One of my goals with the Edge HD, with the 11-inch, is to image some of the gigalight years away galaxies. There are a few dozens that are a billion light years away or farther, and obviously they're extremely dim. I'd like to image some of them just for the fun of it, because other instruments are unlikely to do justice. Now that we do not have any planets, Saturn has finally moved into the morning sky, but it's too close to the sun. So we have at least a few weeks without planets to look at. Another big experiment for tonight is to capture a hoist target with the Edge HD to see whether the data that the big scope contributes is as clean as it needs to be. I take my hat off to you. I built my first telescope, oh, I'm dating myself here, about 52 years ago. There was an optician at the street corner from where I lived, and I struck a friendship with him. I was a 15-year-old, and he would give me leftover lenses or lenses for whatever reason that they did not have much use for. So I built my first refractor using lenses that I did not have to pay for, but I had to build the tube, or the two tubes, to fit the eyepiece and the objective. Mr. Nachos, I know that Seestar will image them. It's the how much detail and how nice will they look that I'm going after. Let me see if I can show you. I'm going to pull it up. An M51 that I took with the Edge HD. Okay, where is it? There she is. Let's see how we're going to look at this. This is an image that I took with an 11-inch telescope. And this one was not too long of an exposure. This is the intoxicating detail that one can get. Alright, back to fun, back to now. Yeah, my very first target as a teenager was the co-ed who lived across the street. Whenever she came out on the balcony, and for some reason she always looked upside down. There's a bit too much blue in the sky tonight. Don't tell me you play chess also. I started my chess career with the Bobby Fischer-Boris Spassky matchup. I still remember Boris Spassky was the best player when it came to Alekhine's defense when he played black, and Bobby Fischer surprised him by playing Alekhine against him, and Bobby won that game. That was a fascinating tournament. In my high school senior year, Larry, I averaged 11 hours a day of playing chess between studying and playing. Used to play on the bus, in class. To avoid being caught playing chess in class, I became extremely good at blind chess without boards. And my classmate, who was also my teammate, who sat next to me, we would play games all day, blind chess primarily, and only sneak the board out when we disagree about the position. Yeah, Alekhine allowed me, when I played it as a defense, all but guaranteed that the game will not end in a draw. Yeah, Queen's Pawn was my preferred opening. I rarely played King's Pawn as white. And the joke was that it does not matter what white does. If I'm playing black, I will always play knight f3, sorry, knight f6 as my response, regardless what the opening was. Yeah, the Sicilian defense was one that I was not willing to tackle as white. When I started engineering, I had to make a decision in my freshman year. It was going to be either engineering or chess. There was no room for both. The last person that I beat in a tournament went on to become an international grandmaster and French champion. His mother was French and ended up living in France, and so I still have the newspaper clipping that I beat him way back, and he's all over the web now with his status. And I show my children and grandchildren that, yep, that's the last person I beat. About 20 years ago, the local school district in our village, in the paper that comes out every month, they were challenging the community to come and play against a third grader who was beating everybody in chess. And my wife said, in fairness to the kid, you have to go play him. So after we got permission from his coach and his parents, here I found myself sitting facing a third grader. So we're talking about an 8-year-old who had his baseball cap down so I don't see his eyes. And as the game progressed, I started sweating in my pants that he was gonna beat me. The good news is he made a mistake and I won. So I came home jumping that I beat a third grader. And then I called his parents and volunteered, offered to coach him. And what followed were 3 very good years in which I became the assistant coach of the high school team there, and took the team to a state championship final. We did very, very well until baseball took away all my seniors. And then I called it quits. In my biggest simultaneous, I played against 18. I won 16 of the games and lost 2. Yeah, cheating with chess now, people are able to implant things so that somewhere out there computers are playing really against humans. Yeah. I followed very closely Deep Blue as it was being developed and as it played against Kasparov. And Kasparov was convinced that Deep Blue cheated. And then he wrote a book 20 years after he lost the game, in which he spent 20 years obsessed trying to prove that IBM cheated. And in fairness, I take my hat off to him. He concluded in the very last chapter that they did not cheat, that they won fair and square. Interesting thing about Deep Blue is when faced with 2 almost equally good moves, it would choose the move that gives the human opponent the most choices. They literally drove him crazy. And the irony is, when he resigned the last game and got in a taxi to go to his hotel, the taxi driver informed him that he was winning that game, and why did he resign it? Everybody in the world knew that he was winning it, except he was convinced. He mumbled in Russian that this machine thinks. Yeah, king, knight, bishop against king was my nightmare. Did not matter how many times I rehearsed it. I could not win it in 50 moves. I continued to follow Kasparov with his venture into AI. He has some good ideas as to where artificial intelligence may play a role. I saw enough people go crazy with chess, and that did help a little bit with my decision to go into engineering and quit chess. I've seen some crazy engineers who think they're gonna go to Mars sometime soon. I'm going to give the Ring Nebula another 20 minutes or so. And then I've been anxious to image the Veil, the West Veil Nebula and then the East Veil Nebula with the Seestar. That'll be a first. I got Seestar in October, and this is the first opportunity to look at the Veil Nebula. In the meantime, I will send the big guy to take care of the cocoon for the Hoyes project. I took every physics course that I could as an electrical engineering major. And I still remember all the work on Schrodinger's equation. I did not get into computers till the late 1970s. I tried hacking the IBM 360 in college and I got caught. And I was hauled in front of the Dean of Engineering. And after reading me the Riot Act, he said, "Don't you ever do that again." And I did not know if he meant getting caught or hacking computers, so I did not seek clarification. Did you know that the old IBM, when we used punched cards to program computers, there were 80 characters per line, and only 72 were used. And if you had a command that extended beyond that, you put a character in the 73rd column that will connect it to the next card. It's those extra characters from 73 to 80 that created the concept of a stack overflow, because that's how we could overflow the stack in a computer and have it execute something other than what it had intended to execute. Yeah, so did I. Fortran 4. And guess what I'm programming now? I'm programming ASCOM in JavaScript. Next week I will return to my series on Objective 406, trying to get the telescope in Oswego to work. Have not been able to synchronize the dome to the scope, so I wrote my own code, which I will be debugging next Tuesday, because I don't want either the 250-pound telescope or the multi-ton dome running amok out of control. Good morning, Sydney. In the 1980s, I switched from Fortran and Pascal onto Lisp and log Lisp eventually, and spent a few years dabbling with artificial intelligence using list processing, as the acronym Lisp stands for. When people talk about artificial intelligence now, that this is the new thing, well, it was the new thing 30 years ago, thank you. Well, congratulations, Sydney. We saw clouds here while you enjoyed the eclipse. I'm glad you did. By the time I was done tearing down all the equipment, traffic was gone. Okay, we're going to take a quick peek at PhD 2, see how it's doing. Disaster. I'm going to turn off PhD 2 and let SharpCap do the tracking. Yeah, this is totally disastrous. Guiding. Enable recentering when we move by 100 pixels. I don't know if you notice the green up there. It is plate solving again. Where am I? Here. Now what it's going to do is every time the telescope drifts by 100 pixels, it will plate solve and move it back to where it needs to be. There is the recentering the stack. See you in a bit, Larry. I hope that Google makes it in the AI world I'm looking for the link to the power supply that I got for Seestar. Okay, time to see if we can hop onto the Cocoon Nebula with the Edge HD, and then the East Vale Nebula with the Seestar. I'm trying to center it to get as much as I can. Let's go this way. Looks like it's gonna force me to enter RA and deck coordinates for the Cocoon Nebula. Seestar is taking its time finding the East Vale Nebula. This is the plate solving with the big machine. It was off by only 0.01 degrees, which is fine. Now let's see if we go with 15 seconds, if that's gonna do. I bought that adapter 4 months ago for $18. Now it's $22 on Amazon. Same adapter. Alright, looks like we're in business. This is IC5146. And let's start stacking. Clear the stack. Okay. Sorry, not paying attention there. starting to see some nebulosity with the West Veil Nebula on the Seestar. Nachos, I just posted a link to the power adapter that I use. It is very lightweight, it has a long cable, and has not given me any problems with the cable wrap. Yep, same here. Both of these targets look like will take a while. I don't know, I have not heard of overheating. I had my Seestar sitting in the sun all day and did not have any problem. Will be a while with these. For some reason, plate solving is not working. Wilbur, do you have overheating problems when it's on battery only? Because I'm wondering if it's the adapter that is causing the problem. I'm afraid I'll have to restart the East Vale Nebula. What is IC1340? It appears to be outside the field of view. Yeah, that's what it did. Wow. That's not what I asked it to do. Yeah, the big difference. Yeah, this is strange. It ended up imaging not what it was supposed to be imaging. Alright, let's start again. That's more like it. Talking about the Seestar and the East Vale Nebula. Now I'm wondering if the big scope played solved correctly for the cocoon or not. I'm going to take a picture and send it to astrometry and see if it can tell me what we're looking at. Apparition, yeah, you're probably right there. I was distracted with the other scope. According to astrometry.net, we are off. For some reason, Edge HD is way off. All right. This is the story tonight. Could we be this far off? Oh, strong one. Yeah, this is more like it, a lot more like it. Yeah, no synchronization needed. Okay, let's stack it. Don't know what happened there either. In case you have not used astrometry before, you can take a picture of anywhere in the sky and submit it. and it will tell you what you are looking at. It will do the plate solving, and that's how I discovered that I was off about 3/4 of a field of view from the Cocoon Nebula. We are spot on right now. I may have entered, when I entered the RA deck manually, I may have entered them wrong. This is not looking good. Good morning, Bill. You're up early, or up late, whichever. I am wondering if clouds have moved in. I'm gonna have to peek outside. The Edge HD just is showing me a totally gray image, and Seestar is telling me not enough stars to stack. Stand by, I'll be back. I wasn't planning on a live stream tonight, but the sky was clear and I took advantage of it while I could. I am afraid it got totally cloudy outside, not a single star to be seen. I'm going to consult with the astrospheric very quickly. Yeah, astrospheric concurs. It is downhill from here. Okay, I wish you all a good night. I'm gonna bring Seestar in and close the dome on the big scope, and then call it a day. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.